Hello class. Now we continue from where we stopped on the topic consumer behavior. In our previous video we've explained the concept of utility, meaning of utility, and even the table to show the relationship between utility, total satisfaction, and marginal total utility and marginal utility. Now we are going to be looking at the two approaches to utility. Quickly, we have two approaches which are cardinal approach and ordinal approach. The cardinal approach says that any satisfaction you get from consumption of goods or service, you can attach number to it. For instance, you take a sip of water, you can attach a number to that satisfaction you get from the sip of water, saying that from this sip of water I have 10 UTs, 4 UTs, 6 UTs, meaning that you can attach number to any satisfaction you get from consumption of any good. Okay? Then ordinal says no, it's not possible. That what you can only do, utility can only be rebranded using position. That when you consume a particular unit of output, for instance, you consume a slice of bread, you can only rank that slice of bread you have consumed. For instance, you take the first slice of bread, the second slice of bread, the third slice of bread. So you can simply say that the first slice of bread gives you highest satisfaction. You are not attaching a particular number, rather you are ranking it. So, and if you look at it very well, which one do you think is realistic? So when you consume, take just as you are now, if you take a sip of water, can you attach a number to satisfaction you get from that sip of water? I believe you say no, fine. But you can rank. If you take the first sip of water, second sip of water, third sip of water, you can simply look at the one that gives you the highest satisfaction. That is under ordinal. Then what do? You rank, but you cannot attach number to it. Okay, quickly now we need to go to indifference curve now. Indifference curve is one of the ways through which ordinalists look at utility. Now, what is indifference curve? Please, if you are writing Jamb, you need to pay very good attention to this. And if you are undergraduate also, you need to pay, undergraduate that is studying economics, or you borrow economics as a course in your university, you need to pay attention to this indifference curve. Waec students, it's not part of your scheme. So your own can only stop here. The first video and this second video stop for the Waec here. But if you are writing Jamb, you have to pay attention to this. Now, what is indifference curve? Indifference curve shows combination of two different commodities that give the same satisfaction. But before I start explaining, as a Waec student, it's also good for you to pay attention because it's going to be value added. That means you are pushing the horizon of your learning. Now, indifference curve shows combination of two different commodities that give the same satisfaction, meaning that you consume different commodities. You consume two different commodities, say bread and Coke. Maybe you want to, in the lunch, you want to take bread and Coke. Okay, let's take that this is 7 slices of bread and 1 bottle of Coke. So when you take 7 slices of bread, you take one bottle of Coke, you get a particular satisfaction from that, of course, from that two commodities. Maybe you don't feel heavier by taking this combination, but when you take more, you are going to feel heavier. You will not like the way your body is. But taking 7 slices of bread and 1 bottle of Coke, you feel all right. Now, but you want to take in the second day, you know what you take that gives you light body, that the weight is not much. Now the second day, now you want to take more bottle of Coke. It means that if you want to take more bottle of Coke, for you not to be heavier and to maintain the kind of satisfaction you got yesterday, you have to reduce the number of slices of bread, isn't it? You understand? So you need to reduce the number of slices of bread you are taking so that you can take more of Coke. So you come to 5 slices of bread, then you can have 2 bottles of Coke. So maybe the following day, you still want to maintain not being heavier, and you want to take more Coke. So the only thing you do is you have to forgo part of this slice of bread. Maybe you take it to 4 instead of taking 5, then you can have 1 more. So this curve now, this curve, this line that join the combination A of the first set, combination B of the second set, combination C of the third set, the line that joins the 3 points together is what we call IC, indifference curve. So indifference curve, we can see we have combination A, combination B, combination C. So indifference curve shows combinations of two different commodities that give the same satisfaction. So the satisfaction you get from A, combination A, is still the same satisfaction you get from B. It's still the same satisfaction you get from C. So that is what indifference curve is. Now, having understood this indifference curve, you need to look at marginal rate of substitution, because as you are reducing one to have extra of one, then there will be a slope. Now let's look at marginal rate of substitution. Marginal rate of substitution, which is MRX, so we can say MRX XY. What does that mean? It is the rate or ratio at which a good Y, which is your what? A good Y is slice of bread. A good Y is foregone in order to increase consumption of good X. So in order to increase consumption of good X, Coke, you need to forego some part of this slice of bread. Can you see it? Some part of this slice of bread. You need to forego this. So the slope, the proportion, the ratio at which you forego one commodity to get more units of another commodity and to maintain the same level of satisfaction is what we call marginal rate of substitution. So marginal rate of substitution, it is the rate at which a good Y is foregone in order to increase consumption of good X. So that's marginal rate of substitution. If you want to get it now, in exams, they can ask you that what is the marginal rate of substitution from A to B? Marginal rate of substitution from what? A to B. So the marginal rate of substitution from A to B will be MRXY equals then 7 minus from A to B minus 5 over 2 minus 1. You see it? So you'll be having what? 7 minus 5, 2 over, okay, if you cannot see, let me redo it here. So it's going to be our MRXY equals 7 from A, 7 minus 5 over 2 minus 1, 2 minus 1. So which is going to give you 2 over 1. So your final answer will be MRXY is 2 ratio 1. You have to put it in ratio. 2 ratio 1. 2 over 1 will become 2 ratio 1. So that's how to find your marginal rate of substitution. Do you understand that? Then, another thing you need to understand under this concept is budget line. Budget line. Budget line, it is the line that shows combination of goods and services which a consumer can afford. So budget line. Another thing you need to understand is budget line. Budget line, it shows the combination of goods and services which a consumer can do what? Can afford. And it's always like this. Your budget line is always like this. Budget line. Now, that is the point. Another point you still need to memorize, that you need to understand and memorize, is that they will ask you the equilibrium point. What is the equilibrium point of a consumer? The equilibrium point of a consumer is a point where indifference curve tangential budget line. Where indifference curve sits on what? On budget line. That is the equilibrium point. That is the equilibrium. Please take note of this. It's very, very important. Your equilibrium is a point where what? Indifference curve tangential budget line. That is sits on the budget line. And sometimes they can ask you, okay, I said, what is the point? What are you going to know the equilibrium point? It's where what? Indifference curve tangential budget line. Or where the slope or where the slope of indifference curve equals slope of budget line. So they can ask you that at what point does a consumer make its equilibrium? So they can give you option that where slope of indifference curve equals slope of budget line. If you see that one, is correct. Or where you see that indifference curve tangential budget line. So this is the point where equilibrium is attained. And you can have something like this. You can have something like this, another one like this, another one like this. This is indifference curve, another indifference curve. They ask you which point is equilibrium. They can make this one A, they can make this one B, they can make this one C. So which point is equilibrium now? Equilibrium is where indifference curve is tangential towards budget line. So this is the equilibrium B. Do you understand? Okay, what do you need to know again? Now, we can also have indifference map. Indifference map is when you have many indifference curve on a graph. This can be indifference curve 1, indifference curve 2, indifference curve 3. Or let me draw it here so that you can see it. Let me draw it here. For instance, this is indifference curve 1. I see. Another indifference curve on the graph 2. Another indifference curve. So when you have more than one indifference curve on a graph, you call it an indifference map. And the one that is farthest to the origin, which is IC3, gives highest satisfaction. And the one that is closest to the origin gives lowest satisfaction. Do you understand that? So this is what I'm just saying. You are writing your job, you are undergraduate students, you need to understand the concept that indifference curve is a curve that shows different combinations that give different combination of commodity X and Y that gives what? The same satisfaction, the same utility. Then again, budget line is a line that shows different combination of goods and services which a consumer can what? Afford. Another thing you need to know, at equilibrium, indifference curve is tangential towards budget line, or the slopes of indifference curve equals the slope of budget line. Then you can also have indifference map. Indifference map is a situation whereby there are a lot of indifference curves on a graph, and the farthest indifference curve gives highest satisfaction, and the lowest indifference curve, the farthest indifference curve to the origin gives highest satisfaction, and the closest one to the origin gives lowest satisfaction. Please, do you understand? This video, please download it, go through it several times. Then I'll also be sending questions, and if you have any questions, you can just simply send it to me. And again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube videos so that you can have a lot of videos that's going to help you out in your exams. Thank you.